All right, listen. This is AA. We don't ever post on here because we moved on. But this may be the one thing I do on this channel because it doesn't fit any other channel I have. And that is talk about terrible WWE shows. We did predictions for like 7, 8 months. So we may as well. Let's talk about Extreme Rules and the big one, the big thing of the finish of the main event. We'll get that out of the way because I know people, you don't have a lot of time. I understand. If that's what you're here for, let's talk about it. That was the worst finish they've ever done this year. I said ever done this year. The worst finish they've done this year. We think back to every pay-per-view. I know it's hard to remember some of them because they're forgettable. The Rumble ended with the Rumble, always fun. Ended with Edge winning. Great moment, Elimination Chamber, I believe, ended with the Miz cash-in, which was interesting. I believe Fastlane ended with either the Edge Bryan match or the McIntyre Sheamus match. Both pretty solid matches. I believe it ended with McIntyre Sheamus. Don't quote me on that. Mania ended with the Triple Threat and Bianca Sasha. Both solid matches. Didn't really, I mean, the Triple Threat had its issues, but still. And then you go to here. I think this is the worst finish they've done to a pay-per-view. I think all year. This is like Hell in a Cell 2019 and 18 levels of bad, honestly. So basically what happened, the Usos came out, attacked Balor as he was about to win, it looked like. They wanted to put him through a table. Balor countered, took out the Usos. Reigns speared him through a barricade. The lights turned red. I think they went out for like a second, but then they turned red. And the heartbeat of the demon, that was in his theme, started happening. He started wiggling around like he was like some undead coming back to life, which is what I guess sort of like happened. He got up, hit Roman with like a drop kick through a table on the outside, got him in the ring, went up to hit a coup de grace. The top rope snaps, and just immediately everything goes back to normal. It was in red light, by the way, for that sequence. Then the theme stops, red light stops. Just the top rope, turnbuckle, and top rope just collapsed randomly. They went through all this trouble to try to protect the demon, and it just was a stupid finish. I would have much rather Reigns just pinned him after a second spear. He did kick out of one spear, which I was kind of shocked by, honestly. Not too many people kick out of even one. I don't even think Cena kicked out of one. So at least that happened. And before that finish, it was honestly a pretty interesting match. I just wanted to get off and stop watching WWE, though, because the show is pretty mediocre, which you should be expecting. This is the one Extreme Rules match on Extreme Rules, because of course it is. Dub. But, that ruined that match for me. I believe I did, like, a live, like, tweet thread, and then I ranked the matches, or, like, starred the matches, like I'm Dave Meltzer or something. I gave that, I believe, a 3.8. It would have been 4 or higher if it wasn't for that finish, because it was a pretty solid match up until then. Best match of the night up until then, I would say. Or maybe second best to me, personally. But let's go through the rest of the show in order. On the pre-show, Liv Morgan and Carmella had a match. It was alright. It was a pre-show match. It made Liv look good. It served its purpose. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all to me. One thing that did happen that wasn't involved in the match is the audio messed up on Peacock, because Peacock has had an issue with every single WWE pay-per-view since they made the deal, pretty much. Every single one has had some sort of issue, whether it's straight up just crashing, just freezing. This time around, the Spanish announced team and the English announced team, the normal announced team, both talking over each other, both being broadcasted. Apparently on the Spanish broadcast, it was the English commentators. They don't watch the Spanish broadcast, so I can't confirm that. But we had both on the, the English broadcast. I think the network was fine for, outside the US, so good for them. But like, come on, man. Come on, Peacock. You've had like 8 months with Dub. Something like that. Come on, dude. I was fine if it like the first pay-per-view, there's gonna be issues. I understand. They don't even have their whole library up on Peacock yet, by the way. It's been 8 months. Like, come on. But the match itself was fine. Then it switched to having both. I believe people were saying it's the French team. I couldn't tell because I couldn't make out what either commentary team was saying at this point. On the main show, as it started, it was the French team, according to most people, and, of course, the English team. Talking over each other. Did not go well. Did not go well. But the show started out with a 6-man tag that was just announced, I believe, on the pre-show. I joined on the pre-show late, so that's why I say I believe it happened on the pre-show. The New Day versus Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos. And honestly, solid match. You have 6 people in there. Omos isn't the biggest like workload dude, but he served his purpose. This big man that just kicked people's asses when he was in there. Bobby Lashley is great. AJ Styles is phenomenal, and New Day are all great. And it was a solid, fun 6-man tag opener. Big E got the win with the big ending over Lashley, setting up a WWE title match on Raw. I kind of thought, part of me thought either Bobby Lashley was going to pin Big E to set up the match, because, 50-50 booking, which, I mean, that wouldn't have been the worst thing ever. Or if New Day were going to win, it wouldn't have been Lashley taking the fall, or Big E not taking the fall. You know what I mean? I didn't think either of them would take the fall, but Big E got the fall on Lashley, so fair enough. He's definitely retaining tomorrow. Maybe today by the time this goes out, whatever. I'm recording this literally like 15 minutes after the pay-per-view ended. Next up was the Profits versus Usos. I think my most enjoyable match of the night, strictly for the Roman Balor finish, taking that down a notch. This is overall just a fun tag match, a really good tag match between 2 phenomenal tag teams. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing bad to say. Next up, I believe, was the Raw Women's match, Alexa versus Charlotte. I was in a VC with my good friends Jesus and Justin. And we just talked about how Alexa is thick again. So, I couldn't tell you what happened in this match. But Charlotte won, then tore up the terrible doll, and then Alexa got mad and walked to the back. Oh. Next up was the U.S. Triple Threat, Priest, Sheamus, and Hardy. I don't know why I almost forgot that. Priest, Sheamus, and Hardy. There's a bunch of older dudes all in their mid or early to mid 40s, but they did solid. There was a lot of good spots. There was a couple botches, a couple notable botches, like Priest falling off the apron randomly on his ass, and then a spot with Hardy that looked botched. But ultimately, solid mid card, U.S. title bout between 3 guys that can get a job done. Some of them are a bit past the prime, Jeff Hardy, but they was still solid triple threat. Priest got the retention with a roll-up on Sheamus. Makes me feel like they're probably going to have another match. Probably. Was the Smackdown Women's match between Becky and Bianca. This was fine. I don't really have too much to say. It was fine. Out of all the women's matches, this may have been the best one. So, yeah, but they're great. There was a couple good spots. The finish is what actually this is the one time I was fine with a finish that ended in a DQ on an Extreme Rules show. I don't know how that works, One Extreme Rules match and it's the main event, by the way, But Sasha came back, attacked Bianca, and attacked Becky, sent up probably triple threat. I doubt they're going to do it at Saudi, because it's Saudi. I doubt it. So probably before Survivor Series. I don't think there's another pay-per-view between the two, that I know of. So, if they're not doing Brand Warfare, it'll be there. If they're doing Brand Warfare, it'll be on the December pay-per-view. So, there you go. Then, that brings us back to the main event. Roman and Balor. The whole time, we were just waiting to see Balor lose. Let's be honest, he wasn't winning. They announced Brock and Reigns. He wasn't winning. There was a slight bit of hope when he hit that first coup de grace, and then the Usos attacked him. And there was another bit of slight hope when he kicked out of a spear and hit like a low blow. That was right before the Usos interfered. Got those back-to-back chronologically, but still. Then the whole ending, it looked like he was going to win, then some BS happened. I know a lot of people were saying it was a creative finish, so who cares? I'm going to book a better finish right now, off the cuff. So you have the demon spot, right? And then you have the Usos, they're out there, they do this all the time. I don't think there's been a Reigns match where the Usos haven't interfered in some capacity. They're very few and far between if they exist. So you have the Usos interfere, then Reigns, hit this thing called a spear. And then, or you have a guy called Paul Heyman who can do things. I know it's hard to believe. Besides make faces and hold up a title wrong, hold it upside down or hold it correctly, one of the two. He held it wrong on the way out, by the way, which is pretty funny. He pulled a call A. You could have had him interfere. Or, if I have to try to fix their finish, Paul Heyman did it. That's probably going to be what they say, honestly. Paul Heyman did it. He loosened the top rope and it collapsed. I don't know. I don't know how you explain that. That was so stupid. On an Extreme Rules show, that to be a finish of the show and of the only match really with a lot of hype around it. Let's be honest here. Like, the next one would be Bianca, Becky, but like everyone knew this probably wasn't the end of that feud, so it didn't have the same amount of hype. You had Demon Balor back to lose in a terrible fashion. The only other time he's lost is to a super muscle buster. The same thing that ended Tyson Kidd's career, only off of the side of a steel cage. And it was bearded Demon Balor. He looked even more badass, but they screwed that up. You can't, like, come on now, dude. Overall, other than that, it was just a mediocre show. It started off really hot for me, at least personally. The women's pre-show match was fine. It did its job. Then both the tag matches to kick off the show were honestly really good. Then it slowed down in the middle with the both women's title matches, primarily Raw, and then the U.S. title match. It started to pick up a little bit with the Smackdown, with Sasha's return and all that. She looked fine as hell, by the way. Then Reigns Balor was a solid main event until the finish. So it's a very, like, half and half in terms of good and bad wrestling. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the description, and if I should do more pay-per-view reviews and stuff like that. I figure wrestling content fits best on AA out of all channels, so I'm just gonna throw this up there. So I have my own channel, JO3 on YouTube, and JO2. It's my second channel where I do weekly slap type stuff. And if you enjoyed, subscribe to whichever channel fits you best. If it's here, that's sick. I don't know. I'll do more of these if you guys want them. So, peace.